Another failed attempt at getting over an unforgettable love. Tayo put a pause on men for almost 6 months before she finally obliged one who had been chasing her for years. It was probably the worst mistake she could have made. Now she was stuck doing what most women do out of agitation: cleaning. But this cleaning didn't just come from the need to keep her hands and mind busy. It was because her date left her apartment a complete mess. The first time Tayo saw Dez, there was no initial attraction. He was a heftier guy, but it wasn't bad, more like a football build. He stood tall at 6'5", which Tayo later realized was the only likable quality about him. He was dark-skinned with a full beard that was an open pool for a few gray hairs to swim in. He had a small gap in his teeth that peeped through his beard, which actually was pretty cute. Her type, on paper, but it didn't fully come together in person. Dez was in town and decided to add to the number of unreplied messages he'd sent Tayo in the past. T, what's up? Long time. Mia City. Dinner on me? Tayo stared blankly at her phone, allowing 3 dots to appear, then disappear. She texted her best friend Joy instead. Sweaty wants to grab dinner. Joy instantly replied, Wait, where has he been? You need to get out of the house, and he's not half bad to look at. Well, to me at least. Grab him before I do. Joy had a thing for medium ugly guys. She felt like the pretty boys were too much to keep up with, and she wanted to be, in her own words, the baddest bee in the relationship. LOL. Oh yeah, take him. Fine, I'll let you know how it goes. Tayo continued to annoyingly clean, jamming jazz music in hopes of relaxing her vibe. As she emptied the dishwasher, annoyance crept back in. She was having flashbacks of the dates from hell. Dez insisted on picking Tayo up from her place at 7:30. She wanted to drive herself, but he felt insulted at the thought of knowing her for years and them not being able to ride in the same car. Tayo wore a simple halter-top dress, black, which is what her closet seemed to be made up of lately. I'm downstairs at the leasing office. Tayo hurriedly put on lip gloss, wondering why she was putting in so much effort into a date she didn't care about. She let out a deep sigh. We're simply getting out of the house, she said to herself in the mirror. When she got downstairs, Dez jumped out of the car, enthusiasm seeping through his gap. T! He yelled. Hey, Dez. It's like you've gotten taller, Tayo said with laughter in her voice. Or maybe you're just getting shorter, he jokingly replied. The two of them gave each other a friendly hug. So, where are we going? She asked. Anytime I see your IG story, I see you're eating at this Thai place. I did a little research and I found a spot. I was thinking we could go there, Dez asked nervously. Tayo appreciated that Dez actually put thought into taking her out for dinner. Maybe the evening would be nice. Or so she thought. Perfect, let's go, she said with a grin. Do you mind if I smoke real quick? Just a few puffs. You can hit it too. Dez was already pulling his blunt out. Before Tayo could answer, he was sparking his lighter. I'm gonna wait in the car. I don't want to smell like that, Tayo said in disgust. She sent a text to Joy. This man is a crackhead. Why is he smoking before the date? As soon as she hit send, Dez jumped in the car. I told you it would be quick, he laughed. When they arrived at Coconut Thai Grill, Dez opened the passenger door for Tayo and quickly shut it before opening the restaurant's front door. Tayo was a frequent customer, so the host Mark greeted her with a big smile. Oh, you brought a football player with you this time. Let me get your autograph, Mark said, chuckling at Dez. Dez let out a deep belly laugh that released the smell of weed with every ha. Mark took a slight step back and looked at Tayo with skepticism. Tayo cracked an embarrassed smile. We'll take that corner table, Mark. As they were walking to the table, Dez placed his arm on the small of Tayo's back, sending an unpleasant chill down her spine. She politely removed his hand and sat down. Get whatever you want. It's on the company card. And just so you know, I'm a big boy, so I love to eat. And I love it when my girl loves to eat too, he said, leaning back into his seat. I already know what I want. Giving Tayo a glare that he probably thought was sexy. My girl, this guy cannot be serious. I'm so indecisive. There's so many options, but I don't want to get the same thing I always get, Tayo said in a small voice. Before she could flip to the next page, Des stretched across the table and placed his hand on top of hers. It's all right. Just think. What do you want us to get, babe? He asked with a sparkle in his heavily red eyes. Babe, does this guy think we're anything more than cool? Tayo swiped her hand from underneath his. I know what I'm going to get, she said, frantically looking for the waitress so they could place their order. She looked over at Des and saw that he pulled a white washcloth from his pocket. Ooh, is it just me or is it hot as hell in here? He wiped his forehead and neck in one motion. He was truly living up to this nickname she and the girls gave him. Sweaty. Tayo found herself getting secondhand embarrassment as Mark looked on. It wasn't even just the sweat rag. It was the smoking before the date. It was the uncomfortable looks he would give, thinking it was sexy and seductive. It was the hand placements on her body, the bloodshot eyes, the reek of weed. You know what? Can we order to go? I'm not feeling too good. We can eat at my place, Tayo said with a mix of disgust and disappointment. Oh, for sure, Des replied with excitement. He probably felt like it was go time, but for Tayo, she would rather have him in her house than be seen with him another minute, especially in a public setting where she often saw familiar faces. Tayo already had it in mind that she was going to end this night quickly. She was glad she had set the stage already by telling Des she wasn't feeling good. She grabbed plates from the pantry and started to set the food. Oh, crap. Let me wash my hands, she said, pumping an empty hand soap dispenser in the kitchen. Actually, let me grab one from the bathroom. When she came back out, her eyes widened at what she saw. Des had taken off his short sleeve button down shirt and lit his blunt in her apartment. He was already throwing down on their food with just a wife beater shirt on. Part 2, the aftermath. Man, this is probably the best Thai food I've had. You know what? You knew what you were doing with this one. His mouth full of food. Are you crazy? Tyler exclaimed, snatching his blunt from him and putting it out on a napkin. Does this smell or look like a house you should be lighting blunts inside? Oh, my bad. It's cool. It's cool. Let's just eat, Des said, attempting to calm down a riled up Tayo. I can get you some of those smell good oil sticks you girls be using. Tayo had to get herself together because she wanted no problems with the 6'5" heavy man in her house. She thought about shifting closer to the knives and getting her pepper spray from the room. She looked over at Des before realizing he was honestly too consumed in consuming the food to even attempt to do anything crazy. I thought I ordered the Thai basil noodles, Tayo said, looking down at the plate of noodles with less than half remaining. Oh yeah, but I was going to try it too. I thought we were going to have a little bit of everything, Des said, biting into a chili spiced wing. Okay, I'll just take some of the pineapple fried rice then, she said with disappointment. Damn, I didn't think you would want any. There's a little bit left. Here. Des passed the plate to Tayo with no more than a spoonful of rice on it. Tayo rubbed furiously at her forehead, forgetting she had on makeup. Des, I'm sorry. I'm still not feeling well. I want to go lie down. Let's call it an early night. Please. Her eyebrows furrowed. Oh, I can stay and take care of... No. Please. I just need to go to bed. Thank you, Tayo said, cutting him off before he finished his ridiculous thought. Des leaned in to give Tayo a front hug, completely ignoring the one arm she extended to give him a side hug. As he intentionally wrapped his arms around her waist, he slightly picked her up in the air. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for her. You're so light. Make sure you eat, he said with a slight chuckle, right before packing some of the food to take with him. He left her with a kid-sized portion of food. Tayo led him to the front door with disgust on her face and no intentions of hiding it. When she turned around, she saw a complete mess. His sweat rag was on the floor by the island table, along with pieces of noodles, rice, and chicken wing crumbs. What type of adult eats like a child? Taya was so tired she left everything where it was and went to take a hot shower before going to bed. As she was getting out of the shower, she got a FaceTime call from Joy. Ah, this one that's you're showering. What did you do? Joy had a wry smile on her face. You're very insane, Tayo said. She ended her night giving Joy full details on her date from hell. Joy couldn't help but laugh at the entire debacle. She wasn't sure if it was because Joy insisted that Des take her out, and it turned out terrible, or because it was genuinely just that funny. They ended their call with the normal I love you before Tayo rolled over and went to sleep. Part 3. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Taya was never satisfied with herself. There was always something she could change, always something she could make better. She loved all the details that made her who she was, but as soon as she saw someone else doing something she liked, she would quickly forget about the uniqueness of her own characteristics. Like when she was in school, constantly changing her handwriting to look like the next person's. Switch papers with the person next to you, her 7th grade teacher, Mrs. Smith, would say. But instead of focusing on grading their work, Taya would practice how to make her letter A curve and swoop like theirs. She would study their penmanship like it was part of the curriculum. By the following week, her needless changes would be reflected in her schoolwork, in letters to her friends in class, and random doodling in the corner of her journal. Her constant need to modify things that didn't need change followed her into her adult years. Even now, at 29 years old, Taya would evaluate and change herself based on what she saw in other people. After she finished cleaning Des's childlike mess, she plopped down on the couch, doom scrolling on her phone. A few scrolls down and she gets a FaceTime call from Joy. See this girl. You look a mess, Joy says immediately as the video connects. I'm in my house. Allow me to look how I want, I beg, Tayo replied with annoyance. Joy was what we would call a posh girl. She seemed like she never had an off day. She would find a reason to get cute even in the most mundane of things. Checking the mail, Joy would apply lip gloss and fix her hair. Returning a package at the post office, Joy would search her closet for the cutest set and matching shoes. Fixing up was her profession, and when she saw that people weren't experts in the field, she would give them a mean side eye. I've told you about this I'm in my house nonsense. What if some stranger decides to knock on your door right now for help? What if Io was in the neighborhood and stops by? You would not pepper him with how you're looking anyhow. There was dead silence from Taya at the mention of Io's name. T, don't tell me you're still not over this Io thing, Joy said. I should be over the man that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with, because it's that easy, right? No, now, you know I'm not saying it like that. It's just that, girl, it's been like 6 months now. When will you free yourself from this? Ayo and Taya were together for almost 3 years before he unexpectedly ended things with her. She thought they would spend forever together. In her mind, they were even close to marriage. So close that she began to think of wedding hashtags using their names that just so happened to rhyme. Hashtag Ayo and Tayo take forever. Hashtag Tayo chose Ayo. Hashtag the Ayo Tayo union. I think he's even dating again. Like, the guy couldn't even let the breakup breathe, parading around town with some babe that has a lopsided BBL. I guess that's his type now, Tayo said bitterly. She laughed a bit to lessen the blow of embarrassment to the face after letting her secret out. So you didn't block him like you said. How do you know whether the girl's BBL is straight or lopsided? How do you know there's even a girl? Joy responded. Is this not someone who has a girl? Tayo sent a screenshot of Ayo's new girl's Instagram story. Ayo and his new girl were looking rather cozy in a mirror selfie. Her figure was constructed on the table, but coveted by many women. Her waist was small, with wide hips and a backside that set up so high, Ayo could easily rest on it like a table. She had a short bob hairstyle that made her look like a professional and a baddie at the same time. Ayo had always mentioned that he loved bobs on a woman in hopes of getting Tayo to convert, but she never budged. You cannot be serious. If I had known you using my burner account to stalk this babe, I would have changed the password. Joy gently yelled. Will you calm down? It's not stalking. It's research. Tyra replied with a giggle. We will finish this conversation later. My man just got here, Joy said before hurriedly hanging up the phone. My man, Tayo mimicked. All these relationship people won't let anybody breathe in this life. Tayo soon fell asleep. When she woke up, out of pure boredom and the need for a midday pick-me-up, Tayo did her makeup and hair. Joy should have called her at this moment so she could have said something better than she did earlier. You see, I can fix up when I want to. Talking about, I look anyhow, Tayo said to herself. She took a long stare in the mirror. She often did this, conduct self-examinations on her body and use the magnifying glass to amplify her flaws. That's when a foolish idea sparked in her head. She was going to spin the block on Io, but she knew she couldn't go back looking like the Tayo he'd known for years. She needed a fresh look, one he couldn't resist, the one he had been begging her to get for the longest. Part 4. Spinning the Block. Tayo wasn't a stranger to doing her own hair. Whether it was braids, a wig, a sew-in, or even cutting and styling her own pixie cut, she made it happen. She was the person all her friends sought out for anything about hair. She was great with her hands and even better at seeing a style she wanted to achieve and doing it. Io asked her for years when they were together for her to try a nice, short bob. He loved the way they moved, just enough to make the face look soft, but it was still edgy and sophisticated. She went out to the beauty supply store to pick up everything she needed before changing her look, or before getting her man back. Neither of them followed each other on Instagram anymore, but they would somehow stay updated on each other's posts. You know that never happened, Tayo. Stop painting me as the bad guy in this breakup, he would randomly text Tayo. Why are you still watching my stories? Shouldn't you be busy with your girl? You're obsessed, she would reply. Tayo took one last look in the mirror, hoping she was making the right decision. I've never even done a bob before. How will I know if it looks right on me? Truly, Tayo had the face that any hairstyle would look good with. What she was really doubting was whether or not Io would even notice it. She opened her Instagram account to access the burner page, bummed when she found out that Joy changed the password. She immediately FaceTimed her. Why are you being so extra? Tayo said irritatedly. Extra is my name, Joy sang in response. What is the burner account password? Please, I don't have time, Tayo said. So you can stalk Io Abi? Hell no, can't do, Joy said, facing her camera towards the ceiling. Wait. What are you doing to your hair? What is this wig cap you have on? I'm getting my man back, Tayo said, sticking her tongue out. Joy hung up the phone, but not before she had the chance to, yet again, tell Tayo she needed to wake up and move on. Even if you want him back, he's with someone now. Why would you want to ruin a clearly happy relationship? Tayo didn't believe he was happy. If he was happy, why was he still keeping up with her on social media? Why was he still asking her friends and family about her well-being? Tayo missed Io, and she knew he missed her. She missed their random and in-depth conversations. She even missed the pointless ones. She missed the way they could sit in silence yet still have an amazing time. She missed his long arms wrapped around her body, always being intentional about hugging her like it was their last hug. After she was almost done with her spin the block hairstyle, she used her regular account to visit Io's page. Come out to Wind Down Wednesdays, hosted by me and the crew. It was like God dropped this blessing right in Tayo's arms. This would be the perfect event to showcase her new style, and mistakenly, on purpose, run into Io. She quickly sent the ticket link to the group chat and convinced everyone that it was an opportunity to get cute and have a nice girls' night. After all, what girl wouldn't say yes to getting cute? Tayo loved what she saw in the mirror when she finished her hair. Man, these hands are gifted. She did a little makeup and put on a nice dress to complement her new look. Doing your makeup after getting your hair done was like magic. It must be how Thanos felt when he added the final Infinity Stone. Wednesday was finally here. Although it was only 3 days since Tayo saw the Wind Down Wednesdays flyer on Io's page, it felt like she had been waiting for a month. She had to pick up the perfect outfit because it didn't just end at the hairstyle. She had to press her heel into Io's neck. She wanted him to self implode the minute he laid eyes on her. She imagined Io looking at her, ignoring anyone else that was in the room, and focusing on her the whole night. After he couldn't take it anymore, he would walk to her in front of her friends and any other spectators, and he would ask her if they could step outside and talk. Io would grab her hand and guide her towards the door, being careful to make sure she didn't miss a step or anyone bumped her, because he was always protective of her. Tyle would play it cool the entire time, even though sparks would be flying inside. Io would stare deeply into her eyes before telling her how she had always been the most beautiful woman to him, but she looked even more beautiful than the last time they'd seen each other. She would play hard to get and ask Io what he wanted to talk about, behaving as if she was in a rush to go back inside, but she really wanted to spend every second there with him. Io would gently place his hand on her cheek, and he would kiss her. The kiss would be respectful, strong enough to show her that he meant it, but soft enough for her to pull away if she wanted to. And she knew she wouldn't want to. They arrived at the event late, but still quite early. Black people were still living up to the stereotype, but it worked out for them. They were able to get the cutest spot to sit in at the venue on a cozy couch in a dimly lit corner. Tayo scanned the room for Io. She saw his friends, but he wasn't there. What if he doesn't come? Or maybe something happened to him. I should call him. I should make sure he's all right. Oh, wait. Why the heck would I do that? Tayo began questioning if his whole plan was even worth it, all before she looked up and connected eyes with Io. Part 5. What did Kanye say? Tayo's heart dropped to her stomach. She hadn't seen Io in almost 6 months. Did this man get even more fine? They exchanged gazes for 7 seconds before Joy shook Tayo's arm. I see you! This girl, this girl, this girl! Joy yelled, but only enough for the group to hear. Will you shut up? You're not having a good time, Tayo said, turning back to find Io still looking at her. Tayo sent a soft grin over to Io, but his face remained straight before he turned away. She was so embarrassed. Is he even happy to see me? He was staring for so long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. 7 seconds is too long to stare at someone for nothing. He had to feel something. Did he even like my hair? Maybe it's the dress. I knew I should have gone with the shorter one. She put a sheepish smile on her face to avoid questions from her friends. I need to go to the restroom. I'll be back, Tayo said before even giving anyone the chance to tag along. She looked in the mirror and played with her hair. She adjusted it back and forth, letting it fall over one eye and pushing it to the side and exposing her entire face. She took a few deep breaths and patted her nose to lessen the shine. I'm not going to focus on Io. I'm not going to focus on Io. I'm not going to focus on Io. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my evening and do my damn best not to even look over at him. Even though he looks so freaking scrumptious, she said to herself in the mirror. She heard the toilet flush, unaware that someone was inside. She looked down in an attempt to hide her face with the bang of her bob and rushed out before seeing who stepped out of the stall. Tayo walked in on her friends talking with some guys on the couch where they were seated. She wasn't interested in any of them and decided to play spectator from the additional armchair next to the couch. Tayo always knew when her friends were entertaining guys out of pity. Ella couldn't keep still when she was talking to a guy she didn't fancy. It was like her body wanted to get up and leave without her permission. Taya was laughing and enjoying the night so much, she forgot why she even came. They were at Wine Down Wednesday, but all opted for cocktails instead. She took the last sip of her lavender French 75. I'm going to go to the bar to get another drink, she told the group. I'll come with you, Ella said desperately. Sit down there, Tayo said, laughing. As she turned to the bar with a smile still lingering on her face, she saw Io sitting down with the woman's arms wrapped around his neck. It was the girl from the photos. She had a little black dress and red heels for a pop of color. Her lips were red to match. This girl was the epitome of sexy. But this time, she didn't have the bob. She had a 28-inch bust-down middle part. Io turned his head to give her a long but cold-mouthed kiss, topped with an additional peck. Tayo stumbled a little before rushing outside for fresh air, forgetting her mission to get a refill from the bar. She stood against the light pole and angled her foot toward the sky to release the pressure from her aching toes. She was so befuddled that she considered going barefoot. That's why he didn't speak to me, or even smile at me. She's here. And what the hell happened to her bob? Her eyes got a little watery when it hit her that her plan was pointless. Before a tear dropped, the door opened. It was Io. Tayo. Hi, he said softly. Tayo turned to see Io and immediately looked away. Hey, she replied with hesitation. Io stepped close enough to Tayo for the wind to blow his scent in her direction, but still far enough for them to not touch. She looked at him with furrowed brows and glossy eyes. I know this is awkward. I didn't expect to see you here. If I had known, I wouldn't have. He began to say this before he was interrupted. They both swiftly turned around to see Io's girl. Babe, the food is ready when you're done talking, she said while glancing over Tayo's body. Oh, you're the girl from the bathroom. Nice hair. Io's girl gave Tayo a smirk as she brushed her hand over his chest and kissed him on the cheek. She immediately looked down at her phone to search for the Uber app. His girl went back inside, but Tayo could still feel Io looking over her shoulder. T, I really want to talk to you, he said softly. I think we're done talking, Io, she quickly responded. Io released a deep sigh and went back inside. She was shocked at her response. Is that not what she wanted? For Io to come chasing after her once he saw her? Her Uber was 1 minute away before Joy came outside. Joy stood next to Tayo and didn't say a word. Tayo kept silent in return until her Uber pulled up. I'm going home. I'll see y'all later, she said. It was never about the hairstyle, or any physical flaw for that matter. Io had moved on, and she had to finally accept it and do the same. She thought making unnecessary changes to herself would ignite their love again, like when she was a young girl, constantly changing her handwriting to be like everyone else's. It wasn't until the Uber driver drove off that Tayo finally let that tear fall.